Atomstack P9 portable laser. Got one right here. I already have an A5. I have a P5. This is a P9. It's the upgraded with the 10-watt module on it, and it's portable. So why would you need a portable one? So you can take it places. We'll get through and put this thing together coming up. I'm Roger, welcome to the shop, and Atomstack has provided me with a P9 portable laser right here. It comes with a carry handle. Of course, it does need to be assembled, and assembly is not all that difficult, but the purpose of this video is to show the assembly in detail. If you are very mechanically apt, this may bore you. If you're not, you're going to want to watch. So let me get this thing unboxed, and we'll put it together. Okay, there is an instruction booklet that comes with this. I've already got it out. It comes with a cutting mat here to put underneath your project so you don't ruin the table or wherever you're playing with this at. It's always a nice little add-on, and you do need to, there's a protective thing on this you need to peel off. This is stainless steel. A piece of foam here. Okay, this is, as our previous ones, everything is identified. We'll get this unpackaged here in a minute. It comes with a couple little tools. They're numbered by steps, which really helps out in the assembly. Of course, the snack pack that do not eat, darn it. Power cord, your power supply, USB cable. This would be the controller cable, and we'll get into the flexibility reasons for that in a minute. This would be the motherboard section right here. It's got a slot for a TF card, micro SD card, either way. And we'll get the gantry and the extrusions out of here. This comes with assembly feet, so you have a little stand to put it on while you're putting it together. This is the display. Of course, the laser module. And lots of foam. It's well packaged. Should be your exit, actually your Y axis. This, and it would also do the X off with the belt. So we'll get into that here in a minute. And you got to look very carefully to find the leg. So I'll get this foam out of the way here, and we'll get to putting this together. Okay, so what do you get in that little bag? Well, we've got 8 and 10 M&M wrench, a couple of little alien wrenches here, also called Allen wrenches. You get some samples to play with here, 3 wood blanks, a piece of, this would be your focus plate here, this piece of acrylic, smoked acrylic. Then you get some little acrylic key tags you can engrave or cut or do whatever you like. These do make nice little key tags. I've done quite a few of these with some of my other lasers. Get a micro SD card, also called TF card, and a card reader. Some non-woven fabric to play with, and the things that are marked for the different steps. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you get some cable ties, also called tie wraps by us electricians. And of course you get the instruction book. Okay, the first step here is to put the X and Y axis pieces together. You'll see that there are rollers here, and there is an eccentric nut, which is right back up in here. That's where this wrench here will fit, the 10 M&M size. There's one on each side. If the rail fits tight or too tight, you need to loosen those up so you do not scar up the rollers. You'll take the Y-axis or the X-axis part, this will be the Y-axis, take the X-axis, and from the left with the stepper motor facing down, place that into there and just let it go between the rollers. And if you loosen your eccentric nuts up, you'll need to tighten them back up. And in my case, I need to tighten them up because this is a little bit loose. Now to make that adjustment, these nuts are not completely round. That's why they call them eccentric. So as you tighten that one way or the other, it will change the amount of travel you have here. What you don't want is a bunch of slop, but you don't want it so tight it's hard to roll either. You don't want any up and down give. You don't want this going side to side. So that's a nice smooth adjustment right there. One of the things that's kind of neat about this is they give you these little stands to set your laser up on while you're putting it together. And there's different angles for different parts. So we set it all up like this. I'll get this turned around so you can see what I'm going to do here next. So, all sets like that. You got a leg here on the side without the stepper motor. This leg is going to go right there using these screws from where it says step 2. And you can either use the supplied wrench here. I prefer these ball drive wrenches like this. It's just a little bit easier. It's 3 M&Ms if you're keeping score. There's holes already threaded in the end of the extrusion. Just get your screws started. Don't tighten one up until you have the other one on. It's in there. It should square up pretty good, and this did. And then just tighten them up. Now on the other side, we're going to do the same thing. Just I'm going to reverse some of my assembly pieces here. This is the side where the motherboard and controller goes. You'll need to untie this little cable harness here first. And there's a little cable here that'll be plugged into your stepper motor. These cables will go out towards the back. Place that on there and do the same thing with mounting, just like you did on the other side. Once everything is good and square, tighten them up. Okay, next, and I've got this turned upside down so that it's easier to work on. You'll be able to see everything. You get into your step 3 bag. What you want to do with all these pieces, you got a spacer and you got the bolt. The bearing has a flange on it. You'll want to look at that flange and have the flange towards the bolt head. The next one, you want the flange the other direction. We'll be facing this, which is a spacer, which goes on next. That spaces it up above the gantry right here, and you just put that into this hole right here. You tighten it up, make sure your bearings rotate, and they do. Next is the belt. You see the one side has teeth on it, and on the end of your stepper motor here, you see there's a sprocket with teeth on it. So you want the teeth of the belt to be facing the sprocket. Don't put it on backwards. It goes through and it goes. It lands on one of these little brackets here. There's 2 cutouts in that. I hope you can see that right there. Right here are the 2 cutouts. Belt just slips right in there with a little brass thing to the outside. This around your bearing. Make sure you are on your sprocket properly. Okay, if you are a little bit tight, there's 2 screws loosen up here on the stepper motor so you can slide that bracket a little bit. Because right now mine's too tight and I can't get it in there. So you loosen those up. That should give you enough play to move that forward. That'll drop in just like that. And back here on the stepper motor, here are the screws. You'll pull this. You don't want it super tight, but you don't want a bunch of slop in it either. Then you can retighten those screws. You should have just a little bit of give in the belt, not a whole lot, but you don't, like I said, you don't want it sloppy around, flopping around there. While I have this right here upside down, this goes to the stepper motor, and you'll see that there is a key on one side, and it's flat on the other side. Do not try to put this in backwards or bend the pins, because if you bend the pins, you'll have a really hard time getting them straight enough to ever get it plugged in. It should just slip right in, like so. You shouldn't have to force anything. The cable that comes in the package, where it's marked step 4 and 5, that plugs in right here on the bottom. And it's the same thing, it's keyed, it only goes in one way. It's a 4-pin plug, don't force it. This will be going to the laser head. And since I'm doing these right now because we got everything upside down, it's easy to get to. So you look here, you got 2 more cables. One of them obviously has more pins than the other. The white one will go right here. It's also keyed. Should plug right in. Shouldn't have to force anything. The red one will go to the stepper motor. It's also keyed. Only go in one way. Should not have to force anything. But it does take a little bit of dexterity to get around that bracket. Small fingers would help right there. But it goes in. One other thing they give you are these little foam pads that you put on the legs, and I'm not going to do that right now because I may set this on a portable board, and if I do, the foam pads on there, these will not fit in my 3D printed feet. So I'm going to keep these off to the side for now, but otherwise you would peel these off and just fold them over this so to protect your surface from scratching. Yeah, I've got this turned back right side up, and I did skip ahead with a step here because I already had it upside down. I wanted to show where the wire's connected. The laser module right here fits into a keyway here. This has a flange on it that you can see here, and it just slips right down into this keyway. And then there is a knob right here in the front. You tighten up to hold it in place. Now we need to hook this up. This again, this is keyed. If you look, there's 2 little protrusions on there. If you look down at the connection, there are 2 little slots. It fits down in there just like that. And to get that, I can't get my fingers in there, so I'm going to use this to give it just a little extra push. There we go. So we are all set on that part. Okay, the coil cable here, the old stretchy cable thing, got HDMI connectors on the end, or what look like HDMI. I don't know that I'd try to use one on my TV. One plugs into the side of the motherboard there. Little plastic protection thing you take off of this. The controller keypad here. There again, they only go in one way. And where do you keep this thing? It's magnetic, it sticks right there. These assembly feet they give you can also be used as risers if you're working on some project that's odd and you need to lift the laser up higher so it can work. These will work as risers. I have not found the need to use them for that, but they would certainly work. Before I put the TF card or micro SD card into the controller, I wanted to see what was on it. So there are a couple of test files on there, the G code for a butterfly and a cutout dog. There's the software and user manual. See what's in there. So you got the driver, laser Gerbil, and an older version of Lightburn. I encourage you, with either laser Gerbil or Lightburn, to download them right from the website. And it's got some forms there. Parameters are all in here. So I suggest you actually make a copy of this micro SD card. So we'll get that taken out, we'll get it put into the laser. And the card here just slips into this little slot. And to remove it, you would push down again until it pops up a little bit, and then you can take it right back out. Make sure you push it down until it seats. Okay, next we need a power cord. That right here. This will be the screen. Power button right here on top. Turn that on, it'll turn red. You need to make sure your emergency stop is released, or you don't get anything on your display. Oh, this is going to be really hard to show. Just set around a little bit. So you can adjust settings here, and you can go right to car, which is where I'm going to go. One of the things I'm going to need to do first is focus this, and I'll show you how we do that. I'm going to be doing this little test engrave on. It's just a little scrap of MDF here. And to focus this, there's a piece of smoked plexiglass, acrylic, Lexan, whatever it's made out of. That's your focus plate. You set that underneath your laser module. Drop that down till it touches it. Tighten this back up. Just like that. Set this here off to the side. Try to get this here and here halfway straight. Now on the menu here, we'll do the carved butterfly. And I'll just have to go with the settings I got in here, because I don't know what the power is or what the speed is. But there's buttons here to frame it and position it. If I leave it right where it is, so I'll set my position there. Then I'll frame it. It says loading file. This way we'll make sure we're staying on our piece of scrap wood here. Then there's a little arrow around. There's a blue circle with a yellow or amber arrow in it. I don't know if you can see this or not. You push that, and we only want to do one pass. Whoop. Try to get you around here so you can see this a little bit better. Okay, while this is doing its engraving here, I'll cover a couple things, and that chirping sound you hear is not the laser. It's a cricket, and I can't find it. But I got a cricket in the shop here, and it's driving me nuts, and I've been trying to find it, but all it does is annoy me, so that's what the chirping sound is. It's not the laser. So, why do I have the goggles on? Yes, there's a shield on it. If you are standing back like this, the front of that is almost a mirror, and you can just barely see the dot. But if you step forward to where you're almost on top of it and look down at it at an angle, that is extremely bright, and that would damage your eyes if you were to stare at that. So something to keep in mind. It's always a good idea to wear these anyway when you're looking at a laser, regardless of what brand it is, even if it has a shield on it. Because if you look at that too long without protective eyewear like this, it will eventually damage your eyes. So there's something to keep in mind. Looks like we're, well, maybe it'll tell me here how far we are through this. We are at 61%. So we'll let it finish up, we'll take a look at it, and then we'll go on to another little project, and I'll show you how to get this configured in Lightburn. Okay, this is finished, and this is the little test butterfly file they have in there. Came out nice. Very minimal scorching on it. Like I say, I don't know what the speed and power settings were on that file, but it came out rather good. Now I'll get on the computer here and I'll show you how to get this configured in Lightburn. Okay, before you get configured in Lightburn, you're going to have to connect the USB cable to the controller. One end on there and the other end onto your computer. And if you have not installed drivers or anything, or have not installed Lightburn yet, that's a whole nother thing. You'll need to install Lightburn or Laser Gerbil before you can do any of this. And I already have these installed on here, so just get this plugged. Oh, you got to plug it into the right port though. Yeah, it fits better there. Okay, now I'll get in the Lightburn here and on the laptop and show you how this works. If you're installing Lightburn for the first time, and I just did an upgrade here, you'll want to click on install the FTDI serial driver, otherwise it may not find your laser. I've already have that in here, so I don't need that. I'll click on finish here. Okay, and depending on how you keep your Lightburn set up, you need to look over here where the main here, where it say devices. These are some of my other. Click on find my laser. And it's not going to find this one, probably because it's a new one. Oh, we'll have to add it manually. Create manually. Oh, it's a Gerbil laser. Going to be serial. Atomstack P9. Then what? Equal the axis length. Have to go get that. Well, after looking at this a little bit, realize that I need to edit this because the specs that I looked up were wrong as far as the working size. So I need to change this. The x-axis to 8.66 inches. Y-axis to 9.84. Should be better. This one itself. So we'll take this down to laser here. And I've got this at, I'm going to run 3,000 millimeters per minute at 60% power to engrave, to just do a line engrave on this piece of MDF here. Okay, one of the first things I want to do here is frame this. I have it set in the center of where my graphic's going to be. Make sure I'm going to be on my workpiece. And I'm not too worried about how square it is here. This is just a test scrap. So we're good to go there. I can put the goggles on and start. And there's our finished piece. So yes, that works fine. There are different ways you could square up your work. We'll have to get into that some other time. And we'll do, you're probably going to want to see this cut something, so let me get set up for that. Okay, for this I'm going to be using one of the little samples they set, so I'll need to set my focus here. I'm going to use this as a base underneath. Okay, I haven't unwrapped the other thing yet. A little protective plate. Try to get that centered on there. We're going to be working off of the keypad here. So, plywood cut dog, 2mm. And here again, it's going to be hard to see this. Hopefully you can. We want to set position. Otherwise this thing will take off and do who knows what. Then we want to frame it. And I need to turn my piece the other way. I just flat need to move it. This is starting in the lower left corner, it appears. Then we'll frame it again. Okay, and there we are. So now we would just hit this little circle with the arrow in it. And how many passes? Well, I guess we'll try one. We'll see how this goes. If it doesn't appear to be cutting through, I will add another pass to it. Since I can't read the settings on this of speed and power, there are options on the keypad here to increase or decrease your speed, and the same thing with power. You can go in increments of 1%, 10%, or 20%. Okay, did it cut it out? Yes, it did. Just like that. Depends if you want him to go this way or this way. So what's the advantage of having this card in here? Memory card. Well, I have one other laser. It's a longer Ray 5 laser, and it has the ability to do offline cutting and engraving. And I use it quite a bit on my ceramic tiles. I do for coasters and wall tiles and stuff. Because when I'm doing a repetitive project, I don't need to tie up a laptop. I can put it on that TF card, slip it in, and just use the keypad and run my projects. So I mean, it works. It's just great for that. So little plus, something to think about. You know, it doesn't have a huge work area, but it's very portable, very small. You can take it and you can put it on things. Let's say you want to engrave something on a wood door. You've taken the door off, you lay it down. You get your laser set up on here and centered the way you want it, and just run your file, and when you're done, pick it up, take it off, and away you go. So there's the assembly and a couple quick tests of the Atomstack P9. This is the M50 model. I failed to mention that at the beginning. My other model I have of this with the 5-watt module is a P9 M40, and that stupid cricket's at it again. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's driving me crazy. So if you got anything out of this, appreciate getting a thumbs up. There'll be some other videos to follow here with a few other different things I can do with this. I'm Roger in the shop. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.